Sure, it might give you pleasure to go to therapy because it makes you feel comfortable. It makes you feel steady. It makes you feel grounded, safe. But take the training wheels off every now and again and let a little bit of chaos into your life. Let a little bit of error into your life. I'm not saying a therapist is telling you how to feel, but they're guiding you in a certain thought path because it's for healing, because it's for understanding yourself. But like I said, you've got all the answers inside of you. I went and did ayahuasca, which really helped me, which really solved what was going on internally. Like I said, I went to therapy. That helped to get to a stage where ayahuasca helped, basically solved me. And ayahuasca is this plant medicine. And it wasn't about what ayahuasca did to me. Ayahuasca gave me this answer. Ayahuasca allowed me to listen to my internal truth, listen to my soul of what was going wrong, what I was doing wrong. And isn't this process, this conversation led from outside that I grab onto? Because that's what I would do. I would listen to things and apply it to me, but it just wouldn't quite fit. It was close, don't get me wrong. It was almost there, but it didn't apply all the time. And I think that's a lot of the things we do. I mean, because life is so busy, because we've got so much going on, we don't necessarily give ourselves time to truly think about everything, to truly delve into sort of the ideas we listen to. It's easier to listen to a 1 hour, 2 hour podcast and say, yeah, I identify with that. That sounds like me. I feel comfortable with that idea. Let's take that. And then life takes you away and you forget to analyze that. To have your own opinion on things internally and drop and pick up certain aspects. You know, if you think you know, most of the time you've got a little bit of room to learn, because nothing is concrete, nothing is too on. Like I said, we're all unique and different things apply to us in different ways. And I think that's what society is struggling with at the moment. It's categories, because we're driven to relate. We're driven to want to fit in this tribe, fit in this group. We don't want to go to this tribe because we want to give things to this tribe. We want to go to and be in this tribe because we want to feel safe. We want to feel seen. And it's the wrong way of doing it. You can have your tribes, you can have your categories, your LGBTQs, you can have your ADHDs, you can have your alpha males, blue pill, red pill, whatever pill. But think for yourself. Have that idea of whatever you're holding on to, whatever you feel, but delve into it and don't grab it so you can't see it, so you can't analyze it. I'm anxious. Maybe you're not anxious, maybe you just get nervous. Thanks for watching, thanks for clicking on the video. I just want to let you know I also post on Spotify, so give it a listen over there. Let's say if you don't finish this video. I also do the best bits on TikTok, Instagram, Shorts, so check them out. Links in the description. But yeah, enjoy. So today, I wanted to talk about mental health and sort of the state of it in the modern day. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it's important. I think it's good where it's got to. But like with everything in life, I do think there is a balance of the way it should be, the way things are. And I think with most things, mental health has gone a bit too far one way. You know, the point of mental health and the point of talking about it is the actual talking about it, getting it off your chest, basically acknowledging to the world and letting everyone know life isn't as perfect as it seems. I might not be doing as well as you think I am, just to let you know, so you feel better about yourself, so life doesn't seem like this easy ride that then you start a bit self-destructing, because why am I the one who's struggling and no one else is? That's the point of talking about mental health. And don't get me wrong, I would prefer it how it is now than maybe previously when it's never talked about. But the reason I think it's gone too far one way is because I feel like everyone's grabbing onto words, everyone's grabbing onto descriptions to validate how they're feeling, because they don't know how they're feeling accurately enough. So when you listen to people talk about how they've struggled, and then you listen to it and you say, well, you know what, I actually kind of feel that way, so I'm now going to use those words to identify how I feel. Oh, I'm anxious. Oh, I'm depressed. Don't get me wrong, some people are, and some people aren't as much as I think, for me, as I identify that word as. To me, they're serious words, but I'm like, what happened to the words of, oh, I'm sad. Oh, I'm really sad. I've been sad for a long time. Or, I'm nervous. I feel unsettled, I'm uncomfortable. What happened to these sort of words? Why is it that we're all anxious now? And I think it's because we hear that word and the people are talking about it, and we say, yeah, that's what I'm feeling. But I think the issue that I'm seeing is I don't think we all are. I don't think we identify on this extreme. And you know, like I said, I would prefer it to be in this area than not. But let's say we've got so many self-help podcasts, and then YouTube videos. I might even fall into that category a little bit. But I feel like we're so confused in ourselves and what we're feeling and what we're meant to feel and how to solve this, how to understand it, that we listen to someone else and we say, yep, that's me. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to put it on me. That's me. But it's not, because you're not that person speaking. That's why when I film, when I talk, it's not about being right. It's about me getting the thoughts off my chest. The ideas out there, and you interpret it. You don't grab onto it and say, yep, that's me. Sweet. You've got to process it and say, well, what am I? What's happening to me? And really delve into it. And I think it's easy to watch these videos and listen to these podcasts and get caught up in the seriousness of it, in the deepness of it, when it doesn't apply to your situation. And I think what it does is it escalates a problem that never existed. At the end of the day, we're all unique. You're unique. And you're putting yourself in a box and saying, this is me. And it starts slowly changing who you are. And I think what that does is it's a problem, because you dampen your uniqueness. You dampen who you truly are, and you attach other people's ideas onto yourself. And you stop being your true self. You stop being how you actually feel. You get caught up. It's like if you was in the worst mood ever, then applying that to who you are. No, you're in a mood. This is a brief moment where your emotions have got away from you. And that's what it is. It's not who you are. And I think it's an attempt to explain what's going on inside of us, but it's just doing it in the wrong way. Because a lot of the work that you have to do on yourself is your internal conversation. Isn't this external or they're going to give me the answer, they're going to label me, they're going to make me understand. No, you listen and you process and you say, how does this apply to me? And work it out. Is this me all the time? And I think the skill a lot of us are lacking is the self-analyzing of who we truly are. It's so funny because it's so simple and it's so hard to actually figure out who you are, what you like, what you want to do with your time and with your life. It's almost overcomplicated. Because I was in that situation. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know how I wanted to be, what character I wanted. And you do all this work into figuring it out. You put all this effort in, but the answer is you just let go and you be yourself. And a lot of us are confused and don't know who we actually are. And I think it's because we grab onto these ideas from people who know who they are. But we grab them and stick them onto us and try and wear a mask. Sort of this internal mask of like, yeah, this is me because I want that. But sometimes that's not you, but you can take little bits from it. You can say, yeah, I like that. I'm going to try that out and see how it feels. And see how your own internal character molds to it. Instead of just saying, yeah, I'm anxious. No, you're not. You get nervous in certain situations. I'm socially awkward. No, you just struggle with new people. You struggle with conversations. You're so much in your own head that you're not caring about the other person because it's all about you. There's too much of you because there's this stress that you have to figure yourself out. Then there's all these little things. There's all these different paths that things can go down. And that is why each of us are so unique, because there's not this one size fits all for everyone. Listening to certain podcasts. Well, it was the Human podcast with Cesar Millan, who's a dog trainer, and he gets asked about essentially how the pack and what he's learned from dogs applies to his own life, with his own relationships. And they're trying to talk about women. They're trying to talk about his wife and a divorce that he's had and what he's learned from it. And you can see they're both stuttering around it. They're both trying to not offend people, trying to say this thing in the right way. But it's not coming out correctly because they think, well, they're being sexist, they're being a bit offensive, and they're trying to dial it back. And the words that they're using, it's so difficult to explain the topic they're talking about. How he wants essentially a woman. He prefers a woman to be calm and peaceful and to not cause problems. He wants to be the one that deals with these things because he's the pack leader. And you could listen to this and you can hear it being sexist and feminists getting riled up. And you could tell that they're conscious of this. But I think the issue, what people are going to see with it, is you're trying to apply your situation to what they're talking about. You're trying to apply your life and your experiences to what they're talking about, rather than just listening to what they're saying, because what they're saying is different to what you're feeling, because they're their own unique person. And there's not this one size fits all. I think that's where they're struggling to describe what they're experiencing and what they want and how they feel, because they're trying to describe an individual feeling to the masses so everyone understands. But sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes everyone can't understand it, and the only reason they're doing this is because they're kind and they're nice people, and they want to communicate efficiently and effectively. They want you to understand their perspective, but you as a listener aren't actually listening properly. That's the issue. There's no amount of describing and communicating they can do. I mean, maybe up to a point, but it's all on the listener to not be offended, to interpret the right way for them, and then internalize it and say, this is why I don't like it. This is why I don't want to do this because of I believe X, Y, Z. Not, you shouldn't believe X, Y, Z. Because each person has a unique perspective, a unique experience to them. And that's why I think when it comes to mental health, you're struggling that much, you're trying to find this solution. And when you find this thing that you relate to, that gives you this feeling of being seen, of understanding, you grab onto it and you hold onto it really tight, and you don't want to let go, that you forget to even look at it, to pull it away from your chest and look at it and say, how much does this apply to me? And there are obviously some people out there that do it well, that can effectively process things. But I think a lot of people don't see it. I think that's why we get a lot of people who are offended today with what people say, is because they grab it and hold on to it without actually looking at it, without actually delving into it. It's almost a little bit of human nature because it's so emotional. These people that get upset and want to cancel everyone, they're emotional people. They care a lot. And they've obviously been through emotional experiences of probably trauma that triggers this emotion, that you get lost in things. Because when you get emotional, when you have emotions like anger, you go blind. You don't see the truth. You don't see reality correctly, because you've got to take a breath and step back and calm down and be more peaceful to understand things. But when something's so personal, when something attaches to you so much, you don't analyze it effectively. And I start seeing videos and they're a bit wishy-washy, and they've heard these words to describe, let's say, that you might hear in therapy. And you might hear people who have struggled and say these certain words, and you want to adopt it, but you don't realize the impact of adopting it. You know, I've been to therapy, and therapy is fantastic. It's great. But I also wonder, I was listening to this podcast and they were saying, yeah, I've been going to therapy for 8 years. And my initial reaction is, take the training wheels off a little bit. Let loose, and not let loose as in go crazy. Let loose as in let your own internal soul lead you through life. Now, obviously, some people do need therapy and need to continue therapy because you haven't dealt with something maybe. And it's a bit of an avoidance, I wonder, with therapy. When you go into it for so long, also a bit of comfort. This, you might get addicted to it. This solved this. This is a solution. This makes me feel great. But I wonder if it might harm too much. If you're constantly doing it, if you're constantly thinking about your problems, self-analyzing. You know, I used to be more like that, a lot more, which is strange to see because I film videos, but I used to always self-analyze all the time, all day. It was deep. It was thinking about life, thinking about how I am, how I need to change, how I need to improve. And sometimes it's about living life rather than analyzing it. You have to do something and live something to analyze it. You can't just be in a constant state of analysis. Sure, it might give you pleasure to go to therapy because it makes you feel comfortable. It makes you feel steady. It makes you feel grounded, safe. But take the training wheels off every now and again and let a little bit of chaos into your life. Let a little bit of error into your life. I'm not saying a therapist is telling you how to feel, but they're guiding you in a certain thought path because it's for healing, because it's for understanding yourself. But like I said, you've got all the answers inside of you. I went and did ayahuasca, which really helped me, which really solved what was going on internally. Like I said, I went to therapy. That helped to get to a stage where ayahuasca helped, basically solved me. And ayahuasca is this plant medicine. And it wasn't about what ayahuasca did to me. Ayahuasca gave me this answer. Ayahuasca allowed me to listen to my internal truth, listen to my soul of what was going wrong, what I was doing wrong. And isn't this process, this conversation led from outside that I grab onto? Because that's what I would do. I would listen to things and apply it to me, but it just wouldn't quite fit. It was close, don't get me wrong. It was almost there, but it didn't apply all the time. And I think that's a lot of the things we do. I mean, because life is so busy, because we've got so much going on, we don't necessarily give ourselves time to truly think about everything, to truly delve into sort of the ideas we listen to. It's easier to listen to a 1 hour, 2 hour podcast and say, yeah, I identify with that. That sounds like me. I feel comfortable with that idea. Let's take that. And then life takes you away and you forget to analyze that. To have your own opinion on things internally and drop and pick up certain aspects. You know, if you think you know, most of the time you've got a little bit of room to learn, because nothing is concrete, nothing is too on. Like I said, we're all unique and different things apply to us in different ways. And I think that's what society is struggling with in the moment. It's categories, because we're driven to relate, we're driven to want to fit in this tribe, fit in this group, and we want to be a part of something and take. We don't want to be a part of something and give. We don't want to go to this tribe because we want to give things to this tribe. We want to go to and be in this tribe because we want to feel safe. We want to feel seen. And it's the wrong way of doing it. You can have your tribes, you can have your categories, your LGBTQs, you can have your ADHDs, you can have your alpha males, blue pill, red pill, whatever pill. But think for yourself. Have that idea of whatever you're holding on to, whatever you feel, but delve into it and don't grab it so you can't see it, so you can't analyze it. I'm anxious. Maybe you're not anxious. Maybe you just get nervous. And to me, you can look at yourself and don't criticize yourself as much, as deeply, because sometimes you're not in as dire of a situation as you think you are. A lot of my problems before I went to ayahuasca, I wrote down on my notes what I wanted to solve, what I wanted to get through, think through, what were the problems in my life, what was I struggling with, and the list went on for a very long time. There must have been 20, 30 ideas on there. And ayahuasca showed me it was all related to one problem. I fixed one problem And all that list is now dampened, lessened, or does not exist. And the solution for me was I needed to get things off my chest. I was too isolated in myself, in my own world, that I wasn't speaking to anyone about anything that was going on inside this head of mine. I wasn't expressing anything. This is why I do the videos, because it expresses what's in my internal. It allows my true self to come out, and that's what I was doing. I'd taken all these different things from people and aspects of life and defenses, and I put it onto myself, and I hadn't truly analysed it if they all applied to me. I'd created and pieced this Frankenstein person and personality and character together that it didn't ever feel right. And the solution was drop all that and just be your true self. Be wrong. Don't be the best guy in the room. You just be you and do it for yourself, because the negative isn't as bad as you think it is. And I'd heard that before and thought there's no chance. And there's certain things I even think now, yeah, there's no chance of saying that out loud. There'll be consequences to that. But in reality, working through things, it will always be okay if you are just your true self. Because if you're your true self all the way through, you can explain everything. It's a continuous process. Whereas if you adopt these words, well, I didn't feel actually too nervous in this environment. Like, I felt a little bit socially awkward. I felt like I might have struggled before, and I was in my own thoughts, meeting new people, having to conversate with people. But in the moment when it happened, when you got past the first minute, everything was fine. We all had a great time. Whereas if you sat there and said, I'm an anxious person, I'm socially awkward, I can't figure this out. You know, I listen to people, they say, listen, take it slow. Don't go out your comfort zone. Or you got people who say, go out your comfort zone and meet loads of people. But you've not grabbed this information and self-analysed and said, oh, hold on a minute. Is this actually a bit normal that I am a bit nervous for a social setting? I am a bit nervous. And it's not anxiety. It's not this big word. It's I'm scared to open up. I'm scared to be my true self and scared to be judged by people. And am I uncomfortable because I don't know my true self yet? But if everyone around the table feels similar, we all relax. Oh, we all calm down. We all have a bit of peace. Because we realise we're not this perfect person. We don't have to grab these things and solve them. I'm anxious. I need to solve my anxiety. I need to solve my depression. No, you're sad sometimes. Obviously, there's extreme cases and certain people. Again, you grab this and apply it and self-analyse. No, I am actually seriously anxious. I am seriously depressed. I need to figure this out. I need to be on pills to solve this, or I just need to go to therapy, or I just need to read self-help books. There's so many different solutions and different ways to attack life, to apply things to your life. Because we're so unique, like I said, you're putting yourself in a box. But that is not freeing. To be your true self is freeing. And it's harder than it seems, obviously I know, but to understand that everyone is the same. Everyone is judging you and you're being judged by them. And it's okay, because we have faults. We have things that need to be judged. I'm nervous to meet this group of friends. Every fucking person over there is nervous to meet up. Everyone's nervous to meet a new person, to bring them into the group, to be the new person in a group. It's so fucking normal. And I think a lot of these conversations about mental health make it not normal. Even though you're trying to use these words to apply to everyone, you use these groups to identify things, to make other people feel more comfortable bringing them in. But it's the environment. It's just a place I can walk into. Am I anxious? I open the door and go into the room of anxiety and see other people who suffer with it. But I can step back out of that door once I've self-analyzed, once I've figured out how am I feeling. No, I do just get nervous in these situations because of this XYZ reason. And this doesn't apply to this over there. These are two separate situations. I'm not an anxious person. I'm anxious in social settings. I'm anxious in competition. I'm anxious when I'm stepping out my comfort zone. It doesn't mean you've got anxiety. It's just when these environments come across your path, your life, you get nervous because it's a big thing and it's so normal that I don't think we need to call it anxiety. And anxiety is just one example, but there are so many of these words when people are talking about mental health. Even the word mental health, we have to use these words to categorize things so we all understand what we're talking about. But realistically, it's just who you are and how you're dealing with life and how you think about things and what you struggle with. Everyone has mental health issues, problems. No, you all have hurdles in your life. You all have things that you struggle with because that is the point. That is the purpose. These things are there to help you grow, to help you live, to help you experience this existence. Now, there's a bigger reason for all that it would take hours to delve into. But a quick version of that is because it's the essence of life. Because that is what life is about. Life's beauty is the up and down, is the problem and the solution, is the developing your character, is being nervous and getting over that. And I just think people need to be more unique, need to listen to the internal. Social media and technology is so big that we watch so many videos, we listen to so many people and ideas that we forget about our own conversation inside of us. We forget about the voice that's telling us the truth, and we forget how to actually listen to it. But yeah, peace.